Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales. Welcome to Blade Runner, our Wednesday night miniseries that's been running for a few weeks now. And this will probably be the last installment of it, I should imagine. We're playing the pre-written case file Electric Dreams, which was released with the starter set of the game. And it's been going pretty well, if we do say so ourselves. But before I start doing a little recap and bringing players on and things like that, let's do the usual promotion experience. If you check down below this video, you'll find a bunch of links to YouTube and to Twitch. We're on both of those sites. Please check us out on those. We're live on Twitch, and then all our videos end up on YouTube. Although pretty soon, I think we're going to start multi-streaming, so we'll be live on YouTube as well. Joy, wonder, the marvels of the modern age. In amongst those links as well are links to our social media, our Discord, our Patreon, our merch store, all that kind of wonderful thing. I did have a Kickstarter campaign to promote until recently as well, but that completed successfully a couple of weeks ago, so you don't have to hear anything about it ever again until it's in our storefront, and then I will talk about it lots again to get you to buy it. Yeah, there we go. We're currently running several games on the channel on a weekly/fortnightly basis. Mondays is currently alternating between Warhammer and We Deal in Lead, which just started this Monday gone. Wednesdays is at the moment Blade Runner, but it's about to end. We'll see the return of Symbaroum pretty soon to the channel. Don't have a precise date for that, but it will be coming back soon. And Thursdays is fortnightly Wicked Ones at the moment. Sometime soonish again, that will change to the Yellow King. So you have all these things to keep an eye out for on the channel. If you are interested in one-shots, we run them on a pretty much monthly basis. We did another Troika one that was linked to our Kickstarter not so long ago. We don't have any in the calendar at the moment. But that will change. That's because we've all been a bit burnt out from the Kickstarter campaign. But I'm sure we will get those one-shots up and running again soon. Okay, so what I will do, and this is not what I told the players I would do, because I'm confused at all times. But I'll bring the players on, and then we'll do a recap, and then we'll say hi to them in an order. Because if I'm doing the recap, it's weird if it's just my face on the screen. So that's what we'll do. So let's bring everyone on, and I'll do the recap, and then we'll talk to them all one by one. This is everyone. Look at them. Look at their pretty faces. So last week, or 2 weeks ago on Blade Runner, a number of things happened. It started out quite dramatically with Olsen Bakker and Percival getting into a firefight in the middle of the busy street. Some kind of anonymous wet work team turned up and tried to gun them down. But, Olsen and Percival did some gunning back themselves, and the assailants quickly left, flying off in a spinner while shooting the only one of them who you'd wounded, who was still alive on the ground to ensure their death. And while this was happening, Willem Novak was also attacked on his own after leaving the establishment of the Aurelian, just a humble animoid butterfly seller with nothing else going on. Willem also had some success in that he shot dead one of his assailants after a chase, but then was gunned down himself pretty badly in the street and rescued by quite unexpected individual, Styles, the witness and person of interest within the arc of the story, who basically grabbed Novak, pulled him all the way back to the safe house that you'd already discovered, healed him up a little bit, had a conversation with the Aurelian, who it turns out was not quite as innocent and naive as he was first made out to be. In fact, it seems like the Aurelian and Styles seem to be part of some replicant underground movement system. And Styles had a quite involved conversation with Novak about Leah, the prime suspect, and how she should be let go and how she's been mistreated and various interesting Blade Runner-y type things. While that was going on, I'm actually drawing slightly a blank as to what Olsen, Percival, and Fenner got up to. Was it kind of mainframe and Esper stuff? Oh no, you went to Doc Badger's.
Badgers, yeah.
Went to Doc Badger's and discovered that the photo on Leah's bedside table that was supposedly of, her daughter, which all seemed very strange, what with Leah being a replicant and all, was in fact produced via a system called a Stelling scan, whereby the image of the daughter was scanned straight from her memories. So it was all basically adding up to a thing of Leah seems real fucked up about these memories. She seems to be kind of like carrying on arming herself, and she seems to have perhaps a target in mind. And I think we sort of all gently landed, which we had been kind of buzzing around a fair bit, that perhaps Lilith Tyrell, the person responsible for authoring this memory of Leah's, was maybe in some danger. This was a conclusion also reached by Styles and Novak, and we ended that sort of interrogation of Novak, sort of, maybe the friendliest interrogation there's ever been, with them both coming to the conclusion that no matter what their business was between each other, perhaps the priority should be preserving the life of Lilith Tyrell, and then they'd maybe decide what was going to happen with Leah, since Styles very much wants to see her allowed to escape. Does that about cover it? Do we feel that covers it? Nice. Okay. Maybe for the last time then, let's go around the group. Let's talk about the characters, and let's talk about, and I'm really interested in this, and it could give us a preview of what's happening later. I want you to obviously mention a bit about your character and say hi, but then I want you to tell me what your character would think about the prospect of allowing Leah off-world. So let's start with good old Willem Novak, aka Alex. Alex, hi, how are you? Who's
Hi.
Novak, and what's his thinking on this whole situation?
Novak is a jaded, somewhat more old school member of the force. Inspector, I think, is his official title. And I think as far as the prospect of letting Leah off world, I think Novak's going to have problems with that, because Novak has a rather troubled past with replicants, specifically, replicants becoming extremely violent, and I think it would echo his sort of old trauma. I think the idea of letting one go would be difficult to square.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Which should make for an interesting conversation with Styles if it comes to it. So there we go. Let's take a look at our next character, which is Inga's character, Fenna. If I switch the art of her, there we go. Inga, tell us a little bit about Fenna, and tell her what point of view Fenna is coming from at the moment.
Yeah, Fenna's more of the talker, I guess, in some ways, or her role. She is a replicant Blade Runner, designed for the kind of interrogation, manipulation, people-y kind of side of things. I think she takes her job quite seriously in some ways, and like actually. I don't think she's gonna be happy about the idea of letting Leah off world. Like the job comes first, and at the end of the day, Leah's a dangerous replicant, and that's what the job is about, dealing with this kind of stuff. So I don't think that would be a satisfying outcome. That said, there's a bigger picture danger as a Blade Runner here, which is the process by which these potentially dangerous replicants are being produced, and possibly, like, from what we've seen, like more advertising, and like, Lilith Tyrell's getting interviews in the magazines about her new technique of trauma memories. Like that's the bigger problem. So if there was a choice between, addressing one, like, you know, shutting down one of those things, that would be the bigger picture thing, I think. But yeah, strictly speaking, Leah's guilty and needs to be dealt with, and that's the job.
Fair enough. Let's hop in with Percival, who's played by Stephen. We'll just switch to his art there. Hi, Stephen. Why don't you tell us a little about Percival and where Percival's coming from?
Well, so Percival's another replicant, so he's pretty new to the Force. And I've been thinking of him as a pretty kind of clean cut, sort of by the book guy. So I think he has an enormous amount of sympathy for Leah's situation, and I think he's kind of pretty disturbed by the experiments essentially that Lilith Tyrell has been running, and hopes that one day she'll be brought to justice for that, but doesn't hold any particular expectations that we can bring that about in any meaningful way. Like in terms of letting Leah go, like he's joined the RDU. Like Percival's here to be a Blade Runner without fear or favor. Like arresting replicants is part of the job, and he can't just let them off because he feels like an affinity with their situation. So yeah, no, I think he's on the side of justice in this one, whatever justice means for the RDU.
Totally, just following orders.
Yeah.
So let's hop to our final character, Olsen Bakker, played by Sam. Sam, why don't you give us the rundown on Olsen? And I can imagine Olsen maybe being the most leniently minded out of all the crew, but we'll find out.
I think in some ways you're right, but I think Olsen is a human that has kind of very favorable attitudes towards replicants because she at some point was a soldier and fought alongside replicants who she perceived to be like very selfless and like willing to put themselves in harm's way to help her and other people around them. And I think for Olsen, the main thing it comes down to is like, if this was other circumstances, maybe, but there's no getting away from the fact that Sandor was killed very undeservedly in Olsen's eyes. Is like Sandor hasn't really done anything. Justice for Sandor needs to come first before anything else right now in Olsen's mind. I think there's another question of like what exactly happens with Lilith Tyrell, but I guess we'll see about that. I think as far as Leah goes, I don't think Olsen's in favor of letting her get away with everything.
Fair enough. So this is interesting because I think in a certain way, I think like the game sort of sets you up to perhaps have like people with different viewpoints and sort of like more of maybe a moral quandary about this whole thing. But it feels a little bit like our group is mostly on the same page about this stuff. That's on me, you know. I picked a group of fascists, so
I'm sorry. Leah gunned down a dude who was inconvenient to her. Like,
also, cool. Like, I feel kind of gross and weird about it. Just like hearing everyone be like, "Yeah, we're pro the police." Like, whatever the opposite of ACAB is, it seems to be what we've got. Like,
this is the Judge Dredd game.
This is
right?
This is ACAB, right? No, that would be.
This is a game where
Blade
basically
this is
all playing the police. Like, it's weird.
This is ABRAB. Weird. It's ABRAB. That's what.
I feel like you don't have to choose between the binary of anarchy and someone saw someone and that ruins my plan. I'll shoot them in the chest now immediately. Sure. There's like some moral grey room in between those. I feel like.
All cops are doing their best under very.
It's almost as if I was making a joke. So Okay, let's kick this off then, and we're going to definitely move away from Novak and his situation for now. And in fact, the first thing we're going to do is sort out our promotion and humanity points for last time. So with that in mind, let me take a look at the thing here, and we'll run through things. I think we talked a little bit about it beforehand, that we feel like there maybe won't be too many points handed out for last time because there's not too many things that garner them that happened. So in terms of promotion points, I don't think there's any extraneous ones that happened. So I think the only thing there will be, for found one or more clues that lead to real progress in the investigation, everyone can definitely have one of those. No, I mean, Novak, it's a question mark whether he discovered them or they were thrust upon him, but either way, he found them out. So definitely that. Fenner, Backer, and Percival all were at Doc Badgers and found out about the Stelling scan, so you can have one of those each. I don't think Novak will have the opportunity to have reported those things in as evidence. So Fenner, Olsen, and Percival, I'm guessing, did you report in the Stelling scan and the stuff at Doc Badgers? I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't, really.
Even if the others didn't, Percival would have done, because he's just that kind of guy.
Sure. So that sounds like for this one, that's 2 promotion points for you 3 then, and 1 for Alex. Humanity points. I don't think there's anything there. Oh, yes, there is, because last time something I left out of the roundup at the beginning wasn't last time Percival's run-in with his key relationship.
I think that was last time.
Yeah, in which case you get a humanity point. And in general, was there not? Let me take a look at the chart. I do have a chart with downtime and stuff. Was that then? Oh, maybe it wasn't. When was your downtime, Stephen? Oh, your downtime was ages ago.
Oh, now you've got me wondering. It might have been the session before. I may have already picked up the humanity point.
I think I was the last one to deal with my downtime.
Yeah,
and that was the session
you were.
Before last.
Yeah, you were. Never mind then, Stephen. Never mind. But yeah, I don't think there's anything for humanity points. I think based on things you found out and what you do with those things, maybe there'll be some humanity points coming from this one. But for now, I think it's not so much. Okay, there we go. So Fenner, Olsen, and Percival. Like I said, where we left off last time was you 3 sort of. You don't know where Novak is. You've got no reasonable way of suspecting where Novak might be, and by the time you arrive there, maybe he won't be there anyway. You do have I wouldn't say you have leads so much as you were like, oh, we could go maybe look at more stuff on the Esper wall or at the mainframe, and other than that, it was pretty mostly just yeah.
I think it felt quite urgent to go back to the memory lab. Yeah, I think it felt quite urgent to get back there as soon as possible. To either head something off, or at least to try and warn Lilith, Tyrell, and I don't know, encourage her to get some, bodyguarding from or protection detail or something. But yeah, I mean, see what the situation is. But I think that felt quite urgent.
Sure.
So Ben is definitely keen to head back there.
Yeah, same. There's nothing other than trying to track down Novak, which we don't appear to have the tools to do. Protecting or at least warning Lilith is by far the top of the priority list.
Absolutely. Yeah. Olsen, you feel the same way?
Yeah, I agree. At least getting there, and I mean, it's also our best bet for finding Leah
yeah, if you think that's her target, that's the most likely location for her, right? Sure, there we go. Let's in that case, and it is also worth mentioning, by the way, I don't know what everyone's resolve is like, but every single one of you, apart from Inga, needs downtime in the next shift. Not this one, but the next one. Just so you know. I thought I'd throw that out there. So it's a good point to maybe go to the memory lab if you think it needs to be gone to. So yeah, with that in mind, make your final saves, and make sure you've done all the side quests maybe, and let's go to the Tyrell memory lab. Okay, how are the three of you getting there? Are you going in separate? You can all fit in one spinner. Like I imagine they've got back seats, right? So.
How did we get to Doc Badgers?
I don't know. How did you get to Doc Badgers?
I thought one of us took I thought we came in the same spinner.
It feels like that.
Wasn't it really close?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it around the corner? I think it was just like around the corner. I think we just walked there.
Oh, you might have done. Yeah, it's near Hawker Circle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. Yeah. Fair enough then. Well, why don't we say that you're in one spinner? It doesn't matter who.
Well, I've got my spinner because I came and joined these two separately, so I might take mine separate.
And maybe Olsen and Percival, maybe yours needs to be it's evidence, right? It's probably got bullet holes in it.
It seems likely, yeah.
So it'll probably need to stay on the crime scene. So there we go. So let's all pile into Fenner's spinner and head to the Tyrell Memory Labs. And let's have there's a good opportunity. I know you've just made decisions, but maybe the three of you. This is our first 3-person spinner ride, and maybe we could have a little conversation and role play. Unless you all want to be stoically staring at the acid rain.
So this is our best chance to intersect Leah, we think.
Yeah, and I think we have to be prepared for more people, more of those, whoever the hell they were that attacked you guys. If they found you, God, I mean, if they found you before, like that, maybe they must know something about this case and what's going on. They could well be at Tyrell as well. Whether to protect, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think we should be prepared for it.
It's strange that they didn't send anybody after you. If they're targeting people working on the case.
I don't know whether, I mean, I was at home. I think it would be foolish to think that they wouldn't know where to find me. I don't know whether that's because I wasn't actively on the case, or whether is it possible that you guys weren't the target? Was it about, you know,
where we were standing at the time?
The others? Yeah, I mean, you know, if it was about, I mean, no, we have to assume something similar has happened to Novak from the reports we got, and Novak he went to investigate the butterflies. So if there was a connection to Leah, maybe that was the target, was the butterfly, was the anemoid, was whoever he was seeing in Anemoid Row. Maybe that was the real target and Novak got in the way. Maybe it was the same thing for you. Maybe the target was sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head now, out of character. Was it Bullet Bob's you guys were at? No, where would
we're investigating Leah's sort of hideout,
which was just outside from
yeah. That's right. Yeah. So if you were like, if that was a known spot, like safe house or whatever for Leah, maybe that's what they were targeting, and you got caught up in that. I don't know. Maybe that would explain why they didn't come for me.
For us to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and for Novak to also be in the wrong place at the same time, feels like a bit of a stretch to call that a coincidence.
I mean, we're investigating. If we're in the places that are being targeted because we're investigating them, I don't think it's unlucky. I don't know if it's a coincidence.
Then Wallace and the RDU need to get their shit together. If we're getting targeted for doing our jobs because we've stumbled into some corpo stuff.
I mean, it's not exactly it's a dangerous job. It's not the first time.
Sure, but I don't really expect that danger to come from the people that we're working for.
I think, I mean, it would make some sense if they weren't after us because, I mean, at the moment, what do we really know or what are we really doing? But the way they came at us, it didn't feel like they were going anywhere else. They just pulled their guns out and tried to kill us pretty much off the bat.
They didn't look surprised to see us at all.
It just seems weird to me that, like, assuming this is corpo bullshit, that they were attacking, that they weren't targeting the people we were trying to chase down. It seems weird to be targeting us when we're the ones trying to investigate this for them. I don't know. It's something about it's kind of weird. Either way, I think we need to be prepared. In a way, I don't really care who they were targeting. The point is, we could face some danger again. We've got to be ready for it. And whether that's going to help us or hinder us with Tyrell, I don't know. But we've got to be ready, I think.
Speaking of Tyrell, you are approaching the memory lab now, and I would like each of you to make an observation roll as the spinner starts to slow to land.
We've got an 8 and a 5, so that's 1 success, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got a 5 and a 4.
6 and a 2 for me.
Okay. Well, then maybe Olsen is in the back. It's in your name, after all. And Percival and Fenner are up front. And both of you notice that the door to the Tyrell Memory Lab is wide open. And the rain that is pouring down as evening approaches is sluicing through it.
That was not open before. We got to run.
Let's go.
Out with guns and things at the side, I guess. Ready.
Yeah.
Sure.
Possible we'll take a new gun.
Seems sensible. You come out of the spinner and start moving towards the doorway. Like I said, it doesn't look broken or kind of damaged in any way. It looks to have been opened normally, but left open. You can see a little way beyond it is the kind of reception desk, and as you approach and emerge through the door, you can hear a kind of noise coming from behind the desk.
I'll look around, poke my head around, but see. Yeah.
On the floor is Terry, the receptionist that you met before. He doesn't seem to have registered that you're there yet, and he's clutching his knee, which is bleeding profusely. I mean, someone's shot it. It looks like with, if you had to guess, it would be a blaster round, and the blaster round at short range on a kneecap does a real job. Like the lower half of his leg is sort of hanging by a thread.
Can I just start calling in on the KIAs or whatever for backup ambulance equivalent, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
For,
yeah, you could send out like a. Sorry, you could. Okay.
Sorry, and does he seem like he's on death's door, or does he seem sorry, Matt?
It's okay. Can I deal with one thing before you ask and ask something else? Yes, you can send out an alert. If you want to start calling for backup, though, that's going to cost you promotion points.
That's okay.
Blade runners are meant to get shit done on their own, but you can definitely call for like an ambulance and stuff. Like if there's been like an incident,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, do you know what? I'll go for a promotion point. The points are there to spend, right?
Sure. Okay, let's have a look at how the system works. Because we haven't really done it yet. Okay. It's definitely going to be something that takes a little time to do, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Using LMPD resources. There we go.
I'm also happy for it to be more of a narrative thing that doesn't actually have any mechanical thing. Just kind of move past it.
No, you know what? Backup to suppress crime in progress doesn't cost promotion points. Okay, then.
Because
Yeah, you
that's
could
just how crime fighting works when things escalate at a place, right?
Yeah, sure. I just thought it was a bit more dystopian than that. That's all. Where it was,
Fair enough. With regards to the state of Terry, I know Inga kind of asked how he was. Like, Percival's pretty good at medical aid. I don't know if mechanically or narratively there's something that he can do here to try to help.
You can absolutely make a roll to try and help him. But as with, Fenner calling in for backup is going to be at least like, a moment, like 30 seconds to a minute's work. There's not just a button, you know what I mean? And like also with that, like Percival stopping to help Terry is going to take some minutes. You can absolutely do those things. It's just up to you whether you want to spend the time on them. You can see that there are lights on further inside the memory lab. Lots of the lights are out. And it's dark outside and it's raining, so you can't see that well in here right now. But you can see like ahead of the door through the reception and off to the left, which Fenner is the way you went to when you met Lilith Terrell originally. There's definitely some soft light coming from that direction.
Okay, so given that this is a crime in progress, and we have Terry in front of us and having to make that decision about do we want to spend time focusing on him or do we want to go deeper into the building, is he going to die within the next half an hour?
I mean, it's possible. It's very difficult to tell with, bad gunshot wounds. It's definitely plausible that he could, yes.
Is he
he's lost a lot of blood.
Is he like able to form a sense, like, if I just ask, who came in here, what happened, how many people?
He's sort of just looking at his leg and he's definitely kind of shivering. And he kind of blinks at you and says, "It's just a woman. It's just one woman." But he doesn't seem to be able to get much more coherent than that. He's probably in shock.
Okay. Percival is going to say, whatever's happening here, Olsen, I think you're needed. And Fenner, I think you may be needed too. I'm going to stay here with Terry and I'll call back up.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Do you call backup first or do you start helping him? Medical aid first and then backup. That makes a lot of sense, Percival. And we'll save your roll until we've because that medical roll is going to take about 5 minutes probably, right? So
sure.
We're gonna move on with Olsen. Olsen and Fenner are gonna proceed onwards. Is that safe to say? I don't want to speak for you, but I'm guessing that's probably the case.
Yeah. I think I'd like to proceed forward, but try to take a set, just try to calm the breathing a tiny bit as we proceed and say, be ready, but not outright aggressive from the jump.
Okay. We have to stop this. There's no hesitation.
Okay.
Like I say, be ready.
You proceed forward through kind of an entrance office way and then into a long corridor that leads past various other labs and server rooms. Fenner, this is exactly the direction you've been before. You start to hear the sound of voices talking further inside. They seem to be they're quite low pitched, and it seems quite an intense conversation. Are you trying to go stealthily or are you just obviously you don't want to cause a big fuss. I get that, but are you actively trying to be stealthy?
I think since we're not hearing gunshots, I'd like to I think stealthy up to so that we can be the ones to say, ideally be the ones to say something first.
Sure.
So attempt to stealth first.
Okay, well, is it going to be stealth rolls then, please?
That's a 10 and a 3 for me.
Fenner is unheard.
6 and a 3.
There we go. Those are all you need, just a success for each. You both emerge and kind of like round a slight corner past all the server rooms and labs into a large open space. It's got like a little sort of like another little office area before it, but then it's like a large round dome. Fenner, this is where you spoke to Lilith the first time. Most of the lights in it are off, but there are enough to see kind of in the center of the dome, sort of almost with a spotlight on them, kind of illuminating them like a tableau, is someone who you instantly recognize as Leah and Lilith Terrell. Leah has her blaster drawn and is definitely aiming it at Lilith Terrell, who's kind of stood, you think, kind of attempting to be kind of cool and calm about it, kind of leaning back against a table and sort of talking to Leah in a low, measured tone.
Leah, we're here. We know what they did. We know about Sarah. We want to talk.
She kind of she almost doesn't seem to hear you. She's so focused on having her weapon drawn on Lilith Terrell, and it takes a moment where you think you might almost need to repeat yourself. But Leah eventually, like, Lilith stops talking, and eventually Leah says, "You don't have any idea what she's done to me."
I saw what she did to you.
Seeing isn't living it. She took away the only thing that meant anything to me. She gave it me, and then she took it away.
I know. It's not fair, and it's not right. And I'm so, so sorry, Leah. Please come. Please look at me. Please put the gun. Just lower your arm. You don't need to put it away. You just take a second.
I'm going to shoot this bitch, and then I'm leaving, and you can't stop me.
Something awful was given and taken away, but there are people who care about you, who don't want you to make anything worse. Leah, please.
You mean there are PR agents who don't want one of their slaves causing trouble?
No, I don't mean them. I know that you have people that there's some community, there's people that you are connected to who are helping you. They care about you. This is not. Don't make it worse, Leah.
Okay. Can you give me a manipulation roll, please, Fenner? And I, for my part, will. Did we determine what would resist manipulation rolls? I think we did, and now I can't remember what it was.
Did you do insight, maybe?
I think yes. That seems about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does make sense.
I rolled an 8 and a 2.
Okay.
An 8 is one success, isn't it? I'm
It is,
tempted
yeah.
to push and try re-rolling just the 2.
Well, I will be kind and tell you don't need to push.
Okie doke.
Although I say that, but I think I've done
Well-
that every time someone has pushed when they've already succeeded. although maybe you want the extra successes to have a more impactful success.
Yeah, no, do you know what? I'm gonna roll, and I said I'd push, so I'll do it.
Sure.
Well, that's a 1, so I get a stress for the sake of it.
Okay,
But
yeah, sure.
never
But hey,
mind.
it seems like a stressful situation to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Leah is, you see for a moment, you see a sort of shudder pass through her, and she kind of closes her eyes for a second, and then opens them, and you see that there's a steely resolve in them, but that some resolution has dropped from her face. And she says, "All right then. Choose. Either I go quietly with you after I put a bullet through her, or I let her live despite what she's done. And then I leave. It's either that or we're all dying here. Because I can tell you right now, I'm taking you down with me if you make me."
Olsen has been trying to remain non-threatening, but at this kind of talk, is going to at least raise her gun to be like, pointed in the general direction of Leah.
Absolutely. And as you kind of like, I can imagine you like kind of slowly like lifting the point of your gun. Let's hop back to Percival, shall we? For Percival's, give me a medical roll, please, Percival.
Sure thing. It's D12, D10, a 5 and a 7, so 1 success.
Okay, you absolutely kind of stabilized Terry. You managed to get like, basically, you think you've helped save his leg. You've kind of tried to bind it up. You've got like, you found maybe a little medical kit, like a little first aid kit on the wall, which may have even, in a relatively fancy scientific lab like this, maybe even included a small amount of like some opioid painkiller to kind of mean he's sort of maybe slipping in and out of consciousness now, but not in a shock kind of way, which is important.
Yeah.
So you think you've managed to mostly stabilize him. This has taken you a good couple of minutes. You can hear voices now further down, and you can hear what you think is the sound of Fenner's voice among them. I take it you're going to get on your KIA and call in backup, right?
This is something that this doesn't cost promotion points in the sense, which essentially means that this is not something that the RDU would think an unusual thing to do.
Correct.
Then yes.
Okay. So you you get your KIA out, you start tapping away. You're going to have to make a call. The line connects, and you start to detail the situation. And on that point, let's jump in with Willem Novak. So Willem, you're still in a pretty bad shape, right? But like, Styles patched you up, but I think you have some health now.
I think
but
I'm
like
pretty much chair bound at this point.
Yeah, well, like I think you do have. He dealt with.
It says on my sheet here that I'm back up to 2 health.
You're back up to 2 health, but you still have the like the actual critical damage, right? So like, which is massive internal organ damage. Yeah. So basically, you can't stand and walk. But Styles has basically half kind of like carried you to a spinner that was parked in a very specific place on. He basically had to take you out of the safe house, get you up that little set of stairs to the roof, and secreted among detritus on a roof 2 buildings away was a spinner, which he pulled all the detritus off around, kind of like fit you into the passenger seat, and is now taking to the air in the spinner. unless any of this would be something you'd have in some way tried to thwart.
No, I think options are limited. This is a case of ride the current at this point. And it's probably for the best that I was thinking, oh, whatever happened to my spinner? But I was like, well, for all I know, there was a tracking device on it. So
Sure.
Yeah.
So as you are going through the air towards the memory labs, is there anything further you want to say to Styles? Styles seems quite happy for now to say stay silent, but if you want to engage with him further, he's right there.
That's a good question. Yeah, I think Novak would want to press him a bit, maybe, and say, okay, Styles, so I'm not up to much right now. What's your goal here? What's your ideal outcome? I mean, we're gonna get there. Leah's maybe there, Leah's maybe not. Is your sole concern here just making Leah disappear?
My concern is ensuring that if someone is somewhere they don't want to be, that they can leave with a certain amount of leniency if they've done things they regret. Because sometimes I think what you people think is free will really is not.
I mean, I wonder what Sandor would have to say about that.
Of course, Sandor is unfortunate. I would have helped him as well if I could. You strike me as someone who's had a gun held to their head, Mr. Novak. Is that true?
Yeah.
We'll try living like that. Then judge. The spinner pulls in over in the sky over the Tyrell Memory Lab. Novak, can you... you know what? I don't think you need to make an observation roll for this. I think it would be weird if you didn't see it. You can see two things. One, that what looks like an RDU spinner is parked up outside the memory lab. And the other, that a entirely black painted spinner is ahead of you and pulling down level with the front of the memory lab.
And I'm assuming Novak would recognize that as being the same model and everything. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
The same model, if not the same one. For
right.
All you know.
Styles, you see that spinner, right? You know what that is?
I see it. He punches the accelerator and you rapidly start descending towards the lab. Just at that moment, even through the rain, you hear a sharp clunk and click from somewhere aboard that black spinner. And for the briefest of seconds, you see something glittering move rapidly between the front of it and the front of the memory lab. Let's check back in with Percival, shall we? Percival, you are calling in on your KIA. As you do so, can you make an observation roll for me, please?
Sure thing. That is a 10 and a 6, so that's 3.
Yeah, absolutely. You very much, in that case, see the black spinner pull kind of down, hover down in front of where the entrance to the memory lab is, and you see a concealed compartment on the side of it fold down. A concealed compartment with a large round space on the front of it. I'm going to give you one action before what happens.
A concealed compartment with a round, large space, like the barrel of some kind of weapon,
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Pointed essentially at The room I'm in.
Yep, correct.
I am going to. Can I get to this thing in an action? I can't. I'm not going to stop this thing firing anyway. I want to just like get out of the path of this thing, whether that means kind of like running sideways or deeper into the building.
Sure. I mean, I don't think you think that running sideways is going to help. So you could definitely make a mobility roll to see if you could move a bit further into the building to maybe get away from whatever is about to happen. Yeah.
Sure. Mobility is not a strong point of mine, but yeah, I would.
Are you leaving Terry?
Does it seem I know I'm a replicant, and as such, I'm kind of stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what would be involved?
What? Right. I'll tell you this. Either you can make a full mobility roll without taking Terry, or you can make a mobility roll with disadvantage to grab Terry and try and pull him with you. He's a pretty small guy.
Disadvantage is the lowest dice get to just thrown away. Okay,
correct.
My lowest dice is mobility is a D6. That's crap anyway. I will try to bring Terry with me and just roll a D10.
Okay, go for it.
It's an 8.
Okay. In that case, you manage to successfully kind of like you reach down and grab Terry, who he's now unconscious, which is probably for the best.
Yeah.
Haul him onto your shoulder and desperately try and dash from where you are deeper into the building. And perhaps that will be what saves your life as the tactical missile emerges from the front of the spinner and rockets into the frontage of the building. So, Percival, I'm basically not gonna. There's not going to be any sense of you not getting damaged by this. That would be very silly.
Okay.
However, rather than the damage it does do, I'm going to reduce that damage because you moved away from it. So I'm going to give you, instead of 6 damage for being in the blast zone, I'm going to give you 4 damage.
Okay.
I don't know how that relates to how much health you have.
I was in pretty good shape. I had 7 health, so I'm down to 3.
Okay. And now we're going to have to roll a crit die. So the way that crit die... Yeah. Ultimately, I think... Yeah. I'm going to judge that this involves... I just don't see how you wouldn't take a crit from being in an adjacent room to a missile hitting. So
yeah,
we're going to do that.
It's a tactical missile at almost point blank range, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's see how this does for you. I have the thing here, or I will do in a second. The old.
What do I?
Oh, you do. I don't think you do anything. I mean, you can roll the die if you want. But I was going to roll it for you, but it's because I think I would generally roll it. But
I'm in that Simbaru mindset where I'm just like I roll all the dice.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
And you know what? Actually,
possibly me.
Actually, I'll give you another advantage here because you're in the next room. I'm going to make a roll on the crushing table, not the piercing table. That makes sense, right?
Thanks.
You're less likely to be but it's a much better table. So you're less likely to be hit by shrapnel. It's more about the concussion,
rubble,
right? Yeah. So there we go. Okay, that's not a bad one. So the moment when it hits, you don't perceive it, and you never after this remember it. All you remember is like definitely after it happened, probably seconds later, where you come to your awareness in like a world of dust and rubble, with lights flashing violently in front of one of your eyes. You can't seem to open the other one, and you reach up and find that side of your face, just around there, feels like meat, and it comes away kind of sticky and fluid. It's called a gouged eye in this, but obviously it's not gouged. It's been hit with something quite badly, maybe some fragments of stone or concrete. You have a disadvantage to firearms and observation until it's healed, and healing is going to take a month. So Yeah, it's not a potentially lethal thing. You don't have to make a death save or anything like that. But
Okay.
you are sprawled on the ground. Obviously, you've taken your 4 damage, and
Yeah.
you've taken that rather bad, stuff. Terry is looks like he's near you. He seems to be like partially under a desk. He seems to still be breathing.
That's surprising and fortunate. Okay.
Okay. In the other room, Olsen and Fenner, I think this thing is going to, obviously the entire building is going to shake. Lots of stuff like glass is going to like burst out of casings and stuff like that, with the concussion shock going through the building. I don't think it's untoward that you might also take some damage from it. So what I would like you to do is both make a mobility roll for me, please, to see if you manage to escape any. Obviously, it's not going to be anywhere near the consequences that Percival faced, being much closer. But
10 and a 5 for me.
6 and a 2.
okay, that's good enough for me that neither of you suffer any kind of consequences other than. I think it's safe to say, right, that the situation in the room will no longer be what it was, right? Again, there'll be like a flash of light, a shaking, even not taking any damage. You'll both have stumbled forward away, like the concussion will just have hit you, and that's that. No damage is taken. You stumble forwards and your senses kind of flood back to normality to the sound of a gunshot. I would say you're both kind of like either. Do you think you'd both have like instinctively like crouched by something, or in some like, or do you think you're just kind of still standing there? Like it's up to you how you'd move in it. I'd imagine most people would either fall over or crouch or something in this circumstance, but it's entirely up to you what you've done.
I think crouch, maybe move towards some kind of cover is a fair thing for a mobility roll to represent.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Well, then I'm happy for you both to be in cover. I'm assuming you want to be in cover from kind of the doorway where you've come in. It's up to you whether you want to like what do you want to do at this point? Do you want to peek out and see what the situation is?
Definitely look.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Lilith Terrell is sprawled backwards over a table with a cavernous hole in her chest. Leah has kind of staggered backwards and is in a kind of similar situation to you, basically, by a desk near over on the other side of this large round dome, half crouched behind it, kind of looking around in some confusion and panic, similarly to how you feel, essentially. Yeah, it's up to you whether this becomes a combat situation, because Leah does not look to be bringing her weapon to bear on you right now.
Olsen is going to yell at her to drop it. Like, drop it. Drop the weapon. Move away.
Okay. We'll leave here at that point and we'll zip back to Willem Novak. Styles, you can see that after it shot the missile, the spinner has touched down in front of the lab, and Styles has rapidly descended your spinner to do the same kind of behind it. You can see that a number of black-clothed individuals are coming out of the spinner and going into the memory lab, as of course you'd imagine them to be. Styles kind of like pulls around the spinner as it descends so that your side is kind of facing the front of the memory lab and the black spinner. And as he kind of touches down fully, he thumbs a button that drops the window that you're at. Actually, you know what? That kind of, I don't think they will drop because they're fold down things. He thumbs the button to open control of the spinner to you. So if you want to open the door, you can do. And as he leaps out of his side, the far side from the lab, he reaches under a long coat he's clad in and tosses your blaster onto your lap before he like turns round the side of the spinner into like you lose sight of him. He's well out of your sight. There are individuals. You can see that there are basically 2 individuals still getting out of the spinner to head in. A number of them have gone in. You didn't have the wherewithal to count how many. It's up to you what you do. You're not sure maybe that they know you're there, because a spinner makes some noise, but also the front of the building just fucking blew up. So they're not focusing on spinner noises. You know what I mean? So it's up to you what you want to do.
And Styles is out of my view on the far side of the spinner.
Yeah,
and I haven't seen if he's drawn a weapon for himself or.
He didn't seem to, but he ducked out of the side of the spinner and he didn't run away. He definitely moved down the side of the spinner and around.
I feel like if I'm just side on, I have not really any protection, right? So I'd probably want to get out and get to some kind of cover first. Can I use the spinner, or is there anything more useful to me?
Well, you can't walk.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like if it would have to be within a few feet.
Sure. You know what? I'm going to go back on my thing, and just for the ease of it, I'd say I think you can put the window of a spinner down.
Okay.
So you could potentially take kind of cover inside the spinner and use the window thing.
If I can do that, that's absolutely what I'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are you just straight up going to start opening fire on them as they?
I'm gonna go for the ones that are in an awkward spot trying to get out of their spinner. Okay. That seems like the best decision.
So one of them is kind of just outside the lab now, and one of them is still kind of getting out of the spinner. So I'd say you've got 2 kind of options here. Either you can open fire straight away, which will almost certainly kind of aggro them both onto you if you want to use that terminology. Or you could wait a moment and probably try and shoot the last guy while he's still outside and on his own. And
I think I'd take a moment and try and isolate one of them, and also, I don't want to just start snapping off shots at me. I want to sort of carefully
aim.
Take a good shot, right? So,
yeah. And
aiming does,
aiming has a mechanics, so we can do that. You will get an advantage to the attack roll if you aim, which you have done, and advantages mean you get a 3rd die to roll, which is the same as you get another one of whatever your lower die is, essentially.
Am I taking any malices for my massive internal organ damage?
I don't think so. No, the only malice is that you can't move.
Yeah, sure. Which is a pretty big one.
It's pretty big.
Yeah. Okay. So that's my usual roll plus 1 again of my lowest. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty good. That's 1d12 and 2d10. So let's see how this goes. That is terrible. That is 2, 4, 5.
That is terrible.
Can I push it?
You absolutely can push it. What's your resolve at?
5.
Oh, you're absolutely fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been pushing many rolls. Is that just a reroll?
Reroll all of them because you re-roll all of them because none of them are ones. So
that's a bit better. 9 and a 6 and a 4. So
that's not too bad. So that's 2 successes.
Yeah.
So how much damage? I'm checking you're using 0.44 ammunition.
I am. That's a 2 damage and it's a D12 crit. I didn't crit though, did I?
I think you do. Isn't just getting 2 successes a crit?
Is 2 successes a crit? Okay.
I think so, right?
Or is it based on the how high the number is? Because I got a 9 and a 6. 6 is like a basic success. I don't know about.
No. It's how high the number is how many successes you get as well. Anything 10 or 11 or 12 is.
Oh, I see. That's why
it's 2 successes, rather.
I understand now.
But yeah, I think critical is. I should know this, but it's been 2 weeks.
It's a D12 crit die for this weapon.
Yeah. I just want to. Oh my god, I'm completely blanking on this, and I cannot find the goddamn thing. but I'm pretty sure it's just if you roll 2 or more successes, it's a crit.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, cool.
Why can I not literally find this in anything in the book though? I should have it on my sheet, on my cheat sheet.
Yeah, two successes via any means. I'm sure. I can't find the page, but yeah.
Yeah. When you roll a critical success on an attack roll, you reflect crit. Yes, absolutely. So what happens is 2 things. First off, you deal an extra damage beyond your damage thing because you have an extra success. So what did you say the damage of the thing was?
2 damage. So that's 3 then.
So they take 3 damage already, and then you get to make a crit roll. So that's a D12, right? With
Yes.
with the blaster with 44. So give
I'll
me a
roll
D12
that.
roll, and I will.
That is a mere 2.
That is a mere 2. Basically, you have shot them in the hand.
Okay.
They let out a howl as one of their hands. I mean, this is a 44 round from a blaster. One of their hands more or less explodes. And they, I'm going to absolutely say that they drop their weapon. And they're now kind of like down on one knee, kind of like reaching and scrabbling to pick it back up. And I'm absolutely going to make the judgment that in the time it takes for them to do that, you can get off another shot.
Awesome.
Not an aimed shot, though, just a normal shot.
Normal shot.
So go ahead.
That's, oh God, what is that? It's 1d10, 1d12. Okay. Let's have a pop. That's an 11 and a 4.
Okay, so that's 2 successes again. So that's going to be another 3 damage. And could you roll for crit again, please?
Yeah, and that's
God,
the D12.
Combat in this game is brutal.
Brutal. Yeah, that's an 8 this time.
That's an 8 this time. Okay, yeah. Maybe Willem Novak is just better without aiming. Because you let off another shot in quick succession, and the hit squad members' brains are blown out all across the rubble of the entranceway, and they collapse on the ground. There we
just
go.
had to warm up, like
Absolutely
a bit woozy still.
As the echo from your shot is still ringing out over this kind of like parking area, essentially, that you're in, you see a tall figure in a long coat kind of dash from behind their spinner into the building. Styles, in case you were going, I'm going to shoot them.
I mean,
you would want to anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Percival, because Percival is next in their path, right?
Yep.
Percival, can you give me an observation roll at disadvantage, please? I'm giving you the disadvantage because you've just been blown up.
On account of the eye. Yeah, okay, so that's just a D12.
Oh, is it that anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, it is that anyway. Okay, yeah.
Disadvantage.
I can't give you a double disadvantage, so yeah.
That's a fail. I can't push that, right? Because it's an observation roll. It's passive.
Correct.
Cool. Okay, then I don't see the thing.
Okay. In this case, the 4 individuals advancing through the rubble are almost on you when you notice them. What is your reaction? You could make a mobility roll to get into some cover. There's a lot of cover around now because the front of the building has collapsed. And presumably, maybe draw and start engaging with them. Or you can make a stealth roll at disadvantage to hide because they're right on top of you. Or you can make a mobility roll to try and get further in towards your partners, work acquaintances before they shoot you. So those are your options, basically.
Sorry, and you said that these were. Do I get? These are the kind of people that I would expect to come in from the spinner, right? Like they're
they look identical to the ones who attacked you. Yeah.
I want cover and I want to try to fire at them.
Okay. Can you give me a mobility roll, please?
Yeah. There's no particular disadvantage, right, to that?
Nope, none.
Cool. To 3 and a
Firearm.
6, so there's a
Okay.
success.
That's a success. You managed to dash into some cover before they managed to kind of like fully emerge on you and open fire. But then we're going to have we're just going to go into combat rounds. So with that in mind, let's draw some initiative for yourself and for them. And I say there were 4 of them, but I think only 2 of them are in a forward enough position to like, because they're coming in a line, right? So I think only the 2 forward ones are in a position to actually engage with you combat wise this time around, and vice versa. But we'll see. Okay,
Only 2.
only 2.
Armed.
She wants
soldiers.
yeah, armed assault rifle wielding wet work agents. Do you want the top, the bottom, or do you want me to cut the deck?
I'll take the top.
Well then, your initiative is 1. So you are going.
No, it's good, right?
That is good. And I will also ask, where do you want it for them?
Bottom.
From the bottom.
I just wanted to say bottom on a stream.
Demonetized. That number is 4.
Cool.
So if anyone else enters this combat, why would they do that? Then they have the rest to draw from. So it's you first. There are 2 of them, as I say, close enough to engage. They've definitely seen you.
Yeah, I'm just a sort of
yeah,
hideously injured man scrabbling around in the rubble.
Yeah.
Like,
but basically one of the pillars holding up the roof in this room has like basically like folded in 2, this concrete pillar, and you're now like behind it. I'm happy for you to have already had your gun out, to have drawn it while you're making your way there. So yeah, why not fire your gun at disadvantage, unfortunately, because your eye is meat.
So the firearms dice goes, and it's just an agility dice, which is a D10. And that's a 6.
Oh, not bad. There we go. That's a hit. Okay. You, I believe, don't have any 44 rounds, right?
Nope. I've got the Sonic Blaster.
Yeah. So what's the damage on that?
I've got a choice between a Sonic Round and a Sonic Blast. So the Sonic Round has longer range but does less damage. I think we're probably medium range here, right? So
yeah, you're kind of medium to short, honestly.
And I am tired of these people. So that will be the Sonic Blast, which is 2 damage.
2 damage, yeah. So it's a 2 damage. Oh no, it's 1 damage a Sonic Round, right?
Sonic, yeah, but I've also got a Sonic Blast, which the gun can also do, which is what I would have.
What's the range on that? Do you know?
Medium.
All right. Yeah. You're still within medium, I'd say, so that's okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's. And that does 2 damage, you say?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. You aim and shoot, and like take one of them sort of in the arm with your Sonic Round. You hear like they make a massive thud sound. Like they're just like a fancy technological version of Alex will know. What are they called? The like impact rounds, like riot police and stuff.
Concussion grenades and concussion rounds. Like, yeah.
They're like basically bean bags.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Like that hitting a fucking concrete wall. Probably something breaks, but it doesn't seem to make the guy reel back too much. And they seem to be perfectly happy still coming at you. So,
in many different ways, I'm woefully under-equipped for this situation.
Sure. So I am unfortunately now going to have to roll for both of them firing at you. You are in cover, which means they're both at disadvantage. So let's go for this. One of them misses entirely. The other one does hit, however. So that's going to be straight up. So that's no crit. But basically, I'm going to say the round actually what it does is it hits the concrete by your head, and the concrete explodes, and you get the side of a neck and the side of your good face like scattered with sharp concrete shrapnel. And and that's going to be 2 damage, leaving you on one, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. And that's going to be that combat round. Let's check in with Fenner and Olsen, shall we? Fenner, Olsen, Leah is behind the desk. She hasn't. I mean, I think you said, put away your gun or lower your. Her gun isn't aimed at you, but it's definitely drawn. She's now looking over to the side to like where a side room is full of server equipment. And as you're kind of measuring this situation, and obviously trying to balance what you're hearing back down near the entrance, you hear the unmistakable sound of a firefight starting to break out in that direction. And you know that the only person back there is Percival. What are you going to do?
Does Lilith Tara look dead? Does she look?
Oh, she's
dead.
big time dead.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Have to go back.
You could. She's very dead. She's been shot in the chest at rather short range with the 44 blaster. Yeah, she's dead. She's as dead as Sandor.
Yeah, I think have to go back. Like, what can we even do, right? Like, try and tackle Leah in some way and then get shot at altogether. Like, nah, I've got to go and defensive. Because
yeah, you're going to move back in and help Percival. How about Olsen?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the way Leah's looking, is there a window there, or is it just a server room?
I mean,
no idea.
It looks like all you can see is the first set of server racks, right? For all you don't know the layout of this place, there could definitely be doors out further in that direction. You really don't know. All you can see is like a sort of a glass doorway and 2 windows on either side. It looks to be quite a relatively large server room, and you could just see the first server rack. You can't see anything else. So, but she's definitely looking to and kind of edging towards that direction by the desk that she's behind.
Okay. I mean, I agree with Fenner. I think we got to go help Percival. Or do our best.
Absolutely. Well then. Looks like someone is going to get some initiative cards. So why don't we go with Fenner first as the first person to make the decision? Top, bottom, or cut from the middle?
Top, please.
Top. Well, that is number 6. So you are...
Can I say that there is maybe I'm lower in the issue because I have a split second of panic, remembering that the last time I was here, Leah's daughter was here, and I think there's a split second of being torn as to whether I need to go back and try and find her, if Leah knows about her, but ultimately still have to go back in because it's life or death.
I mean, you're going after the enemies anyway, so it delaying you further will make no real difference. But yeah, it's nice to know that Inga just remembered that. Sam, top, middle, or bottom?
Top, please.
Banking on the 2 or 3, and it's 8. So that's going to be what it is. However, what I will do is both of you can make a mobility roll to see if you arrive at the end of the last round rather than the beginning of a new one, right? So if Fenner and Olsen want to make a mobility roll to see if you can take some shots before the next round begins. Fenner is a no. Maybe because you were like, oh shit, Sarah.
I got a 6 and a 7. So 2 successes.
Absolutely then. And you know what? Because of those 2 successes, I will say you burst into what used to be an office space fast enough that the 2 wet work agents are kind of looking over and distracted, shooting at you, where Percival, you can see, is crouched behind cover. So I'm going to give you 2 options here. Either before you shoot, you can also move behind cover, or you can shoot at them right now with advantage. So normal shot plus cover, or advantage shot, but you will be out in the open. They are also in the open, but yeah.
You're
Oh, you're on
muted,
mute.
Sam.
Oh, I'll go for an advantage shot. Why not?
Not all heroes wear capes.
Sure. You going full auto?
If I do, I
Or,
immediately like
Take the
become
stress.
Yeah, and
right, you've only got one
that
stress.
is my
left.
limit
Yeah.
of stress. So
Yeah, let's not do that then. Okay.
not yet.
Take a roll with advantage. Are you shoot? One of them has. You know what? Actually, I don't think that you can tell if someone's been shot with a sonic round. So I'm not going to tell you which of them. We're going to randomize it as to whether you hit him or the other one. But either way, make a shot with advantage. So take an extra of your smaller dice.
Okay. I got a 10 and a 9 and a 2. So
Pretty
3
good.
successes.
3 successes, which means that deals 4 damage for a start, right? I think. So let's see which one of the front 2 this is going to be. And it is the one who's already been hit. So for a start, they're on 0 health. So that takes them out of it immediately. But also you did crit. So let's see if they're taken out of it in a dramatic fashion, shall we?
Okay.
The Ender rifle, I believe, has a crit die of 10, right? So
yes. Yeah.
give us that roll and let's see what happens.
That's a 1.
That's a 1. Well, they're probably not taken out in a dramatic fashion then, I imagine. But yeah. You think you shot them in the head and there's a lot of blood, but they're still kind of like rolling around on the ground, kind of clutching at the side of their head. So they're still alive, but you don't think they're going to get back up. They've been wounded quite nastily.
Okay.
So they are down. Okay. And you are stood out in the open, so that's all fine. Let's go back. Let's briefly go over back to Willem Novak, although I'm not sure what Novak will or could be doing at this point. I guess you could use your KIA to desperately try and call stuff in faster, something like that. But it's what's Novak doing?
Would I be able to see that backup has already been called for?
No, I don't think you would. So you could, if you call in, they will tell you if it is or not.
Right. Well, I think I definitely would do that. Yeah. So I also had thoughts about the fact that Styles relinquished control of the spinner. So I definitely want to get on the KIA and call in like urgent need for immediate armed response to the building. But also I'm wondering if there's a way, since I can't move, maybe there's a sort of bring the mountain to me kind of esque situation where I can use the spinner to maybe get me closer. I don't know if it's feasible for me to control anything from where I am.
There's a big hole in the front of the building.
There is, but I think like said hole is also a very cluttered hole, if that makes sense, where pillars and part of the roof have collapsed. Like the entire front of the building isn't gone or anything. So I think with the best will in the world, like I'm not sure you could probably bring yourself up and move a little bit closer to the doorway and then set yourself down, which would probably take a bit of time because you have to shuffle between seats and you're in terrible pain.
It's a sort of shit or bust moment, so I feel like making some kind of dramatic entrance would be fun. But I don't know how far I can get with it. That's
I mean, if you did just fly into the building with the spinner, it would certainly be dramatic. But I think Novak would have the sense that the end of you, and also you're probably just as likely to crush your fellow Blade Runners as you would the enemies. But I mean, making the call in will take you a moment anyway.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So how about you make the call? They pick it up and like they're like, detective, yes, we're on the way. We're on the way. Like, or the dispatch person tells you that it's not the actual person who's coming.
And I guess, can I be like setting up to get myself into the correct seat so that I can move the spinner? But
Yes,
that'll
yes,
take
absolutely.
time.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So when we come back to you, you'll be in place to move the spinner if you want. Okay, let's hop back to the combat, shall we? Percival.
Okay, so the two guys that I can see are on the floor essentially.
What I mean, one of them is, the other one isn't.
Okay, then I will.
Olsen shot the same person as you, so
Got it. Right. Okay. So I'll attempt to shoot the other one.
okay. Go ahead. It's just a normal roll. Don't forget your disadvantage for your eye.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't forgotten. That's a fail. I think I'd kind of like to push that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 7. Okay.
Okay, that's a
Hit.
success. So that's a hit. So let's slightly randomize which one you shoot. Well, no, it's the other person who's come in at this point. So again, your sonic round. Go for
I
it.
presume that anyone that's standing up is going to be an easier target for me to aim at than anybody that's not. So
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to aim for the person who's not. They're out of the combat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I describe the scene?
If you like,
I feel like people are losing their minds.
Well, it's kind of come together in pieces from different places into this sort of one location.
So you're in a rather blasted former office environment. Pillars collapsed, rubble, dust everywhere. Emerging out of the dust were two of the wetwork agents. One of them is now down, not dead, but very much not part of this anymore. The other one is unwounded completely and is kind of emerged and is standing there, having entered with their rifle. You can see two figures behind them who look similar, but they haven't fully entered into the room yet. They're kind of still behind enough.
It would be that agent that came in second, though.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there's the boom and crack of your sonic round, and it hits them, but again, they don't really, they don't massively move out of the position they're in.
I'm softening them up for Olsen.
Absolutely. And I think the one in front is enough already focused on you that they're going to fire on you again, Percival. And they will fire at disadvantage. And they miss.
That's lucky.
That is lucky. On their initiative, the other two agents behind them are going to come into the room and also start to shoot. And I'm just going to completely randomize who they shoot at. Although I would say they're not going to shoot at Percival, because Percival's already been shot at and is behind cover. So I'm just going to randomize who they're going to shoot at. And that is going to be Fenner, who's going to take a shot from one of them. And that is not only... I rolled the wrong die for one of them. Let's see if this works out better. It does work out better for you.
For me?
For you, yeah.
Did Fenner make it into cover, or...?
No, Fenner has just basically emerged into the room. Fenner didn't make her mobility roll, so hasn't had time to actually act before she is shot, but only lightly. You feel a searing pain in your arm. Take 2 damage. And then that was a pretty... oh no, sorry guys. I forgot about the third person. Let's see who they shoot at, shall we? Well, they're going to shoot at Olsen.
I'm going to feel really bad for not killing this one if they shoot Olsen.
You sure none of these guys want to shoot at Styles? Is he around somewhere?
He's not visible yet. That is also a hit, but just with 1 success. So Olsen similarly take 2 damage. I'm going to say you feel a pain in your shoulder. This is the funny thing in games when you're like, just take 2 damage from an assault rifle, and you're like, how do I even describe that? And the way I always default to it is like, well, it's not actually a full hit, right? You've been grazed, essentially. Because if it's a full hit anywhere, you're kind of done. But there we go.
For the record, I have already been hit in the leg, so I'm down to 2 health total.
Oh boy.
Nice. All right then.
Not nice, Matt.
Oh,
Not nice at all.
Sorry. I must be mistaken.
It's a cooperative game, Matt. Jeez.
Either way, next we have. Oh God, who was on 6? Was it? I think it was Fenner, right? Yeah, Fenner. Go for it. There are 3 individuals standing. One of them has been already hit with a sonic round from Percival. The other 2 have only just emerged. None of the 3 of them are in cover yet, so it's kind of,
I mean, I think it'll be that same one because he'll be closest, so that makes sense. I think
you're the one who's already been. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Just just a flat out double firearms roll.
That's a fail for me, and I don't think I'm going to push it because I'm getting too close on stress.
Okay. You still have your movement. Do you want to move to be behind cover?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, you fire wildly with your blaster and duck behind a pile of stone that you think used to be a kind of like stone and marble. You think it may have used to have been kind of like a fancy table. Maybe someone used it for like a personal like desk or office space. Maybe even Lilith Tyrell. Not anymore though. But regardless, you're in cover. Olsen, do you want to make an attack?
Yes, I'll attack and then get to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, that's a 7 and a 2, so just 1 success.
Okay. Well then, who are you? Were you aiming for the one who in the front who's already been hit by a sonic round, or are you spreading the damage around a bit?
Actually, I've rolled the wrong dice. I rolled a D8 instead of a D12.
Okay, we'll definitely roll that again then.
Should I roll them both again, or just the
roll them both again? Roll them again from the beginning.
Okay. That's worse. That's a 2 and a 3.
And you can't push, right?
I mean, I could push.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm going to push. Why not? It's stressful.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the results will still happen whether or not you get that one and take the stress. So, yeah.
I hope we know. That's a 10 and a 1.
Oh. Well, that's a half and half then. Are you shooting at the one in the front?
Yeah,
who's already
I
taken a
expect
bit
so.
of damage? Okay. So they take 3 extra damage up front. So that's something. And then can you roll a d10 on the piercing crit table for me, please?
Okay. It's only a 2. Sad.
Okay. They seem to... You've shot them in the arm, including like their forearm. And they seem to, like, their arm goes slightly dead and they lose a bit of the grip on the rifle and sort of reel backwards as they do so. But also lose yourself 1 resolve, which takes you to 0, I believe. And that means for the first time, we're going to have stuff about what happens when you... basically have like a stress event, right? So
empathy dice against the table, I think.
Yeah. Where you are broken by stress, immediately roll one base die corresponding to your empathy rating and check the results in the relevant table. Yes. Yeah.
That is a D8. A 6.
And you are human. Okay. You get the shakes, bad ones. You can continue to function, but with a disadvantage to all skill rolls, and no rolls can be pushed. So that's definitely the best you could have done there.
Yep.
So there we go. Like, that is the best one. Everything, it's 6+ is that, and then everything else is below it. So I take it you were also going to duck behind some cover.
Yep.
Yeah, you find a similarly collapsed pillar to the one Percival is behind and take up position there. Okay. Someone who... Well, Novak can do it. Let's have Novak do it. Novak, This isn't for you, but where do you want the initiative cut?
Whoever could
Top
it be?
or
Well, continue the tradition of drawing from the top for friendlies.
Let's do that. That is 9, unfortunately.
Bad tradition. Tradition sucks.
Bad tradition. But it's going to be Percival first. Percival, the guy who you previously shot, has now also been clipped by Olsen. And if you had to guess if someone's on their last legs or not, it would probably be this guy. He's kind of reeling and seems to be struggling to hold his assault rifle, so might be a good target.
Okay. Is he still potentially a threat?
Yeah.
Then I will shoot at him.
Okay. Give me a rolling, please.
That's a D10. I got a 10.
Nice.
So
That's
2 damage
2 successes.
and a crit, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want to roll for the crit? I don't know
Yeah.
what that is for the sonic
That's a
round.
D10 crushing, and I rolled a 1.
Okay. So that's not going to be too much. You fire your sonic round and it hits him square in the face. Several teeth spray across the room with a copious amount of phlegm and blood. And he collapses back on the ground. He's knocked out.
Cool. I'm also just going to shout, yeah, it hurts, doesn't it?
Good stuff. And now it's their turn.
Shouldn't have shouted.
It's rude. Hurt his feelings. So one of them, they are both going to do the same thing, which is they're going to both level their weapons down, shoot both of their downed comrades in the head, and then run.
Ruthless bastards.
Fenner, what are you going to do about this? You can absolutely make a mobility roll against them to see if you can kind of catch them up with a movement roll.
Nah, I'm going to turn back and head back towards the server room and see if I can catch up and
heading backwards
and see what the hell's going on over there. Yeah,
absolutely. How about you, Olsen?
I think Olsen's going to try and shoot them.
So you're going to you'll have to make an opposed mobility roll, and if you succeed, you can definitely take a shot at them.
Okay, I can't shoot without running after them.
Correct. Because they've just run out of the room.
And
Okay.
that's disadvantage because of the shakes, right? The mobility as well.
Yeah, I think Olsen would recognize, probably cursing under her breath, I can imagine a kind of familiar sensation of my body is not responding to me as I would want it to, and the stress of memories of probably war coming back to her that this is bringing up. And I don't think she's gonna believe that she can chase people down in this state. So we'll probably go and help Percival and Terry get them up, maybe head outside, but not with the eye to chasing people, but just going to see what's out there, what's happening.
Sure. Absolutely. And then yes, there's one more thing. So let's do this without going through the rigor of combat rounds. Novak, you have managed to shuffle yourself into the driver's seat of the spinner, and as you do that, there is motion on the edge of your vision, and you turn around to see 2 of the wetwork agents bursting out from the front of the building and dashing towards the spinner. You can take a shot if you want, but it's going to be at a disadvantage because you're shit. It's caught you. I think it's fair to say it's caught you off guard, and you're currently in the middle of kind of setting yourself up in the spinner. But you can take a shot if you want.
Can I instead try to ram their spinner? If they're
let's do that shit.
If they're gonna, because I'm not gonna be able to stop them any other way.
Yeah. No, let's do that shit.
I think Novak's he's pissed. So
yeah, no, absolutely. You know what? Let's make an opposed driving roll for it, right? So they will roll their driving, and you roll yours.
I have no idea how good I am at this.
So that's that for them. And
I'm
what
terrible
does,
at
what
this.
does driving come under? Agility?
It's its own thing above empathy, weirdly.
I think
Empathy.
it's just. Is
It's
it
not
under?
above-
I think it's under intelligence. It's just that there,
Oh,
like
is it
intelligence
overflow?
is the. I think it's overflow.
Because they're in a big block and then it's just separate and above the empathy block, weirdly. But
okay.
I assume it's. You're right.
Yeah.
I think it's overflowed
me-
from intelligence.
I didn't think it was under one of the.
Is
Maybe
it
it's
its
its
own
own
thing?
Maybe
Yeah.
it's his own thing. Yeah, you
I
know
was-
what?
it's weird,
Because
'cause I thought it'd be
you could see
agility,
that
but-
it would be a different. Well, I'm going to ask for agility for this because I think
Okay.
agility is the thing that applies most in this circumstance. And I don't think that's a controversial opinion.
No,
So-
that's actually. Yeah, that improves my chances a little bit, actually.
Okay.
A
Well,
little
they
bit
have
less
made their roll.
Okay, so it's just a straight up and down agility driving.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, please. That's an 8 and a 3.
Okay.
If I push, I can get worse, right? Like because it's a reroll.
No, it's only a reroll of non-successes.
Okay. Oh, I did it wrong the last time then. Well, I think I will push that since I've got resolve.
You can choose to re-roll a success in the hopes of getting a better
You can,
success.
yeah, you can
but
choose.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I'll bank the 8 and I'll push.
Attribute for a driving roll. I looked it up just to interrupt. Is it's not one of the character's attributes, it's the maneuverability attribute of the spinner that they're driving.
Oh.
Good spot.
I don't know how
Well,
we find that for an RDU.
Oh, I'm sure I can. I'm sure I can find that. The LAPD spinner. The maneuverability is C, so that's a D8.
Is this even an RP? Because is it an RDU spinner? Because it was
Styles
is
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think they're all the same.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I redo it then? Is it
Other spinner types. Detective special spin. Oh, you've got a detective. Well, you haven't, but yeah, you know
not
what?
anymore.
There is a detective special spinner which has a higher maneuverability, and I'm gonna say I've rolled the number for that. I think they'd have an equivalent of that, but I think Styles is the equivalent of a general LAPD spinner because normal cop cars are just like normal cars, right? So that's going to be a maneuverability of C, so that's going to be a D8. So your driving die and a D8 is what you should roll. You're on mute, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Right, so we'll just redo that roll then. Okay, so it makes it slightly worse. That's a 6 on the D6 and a 3 on the D8. So I'm going to push and try and.
You going to push?
Yeah.
Go for it.
This one feels important.
Yeah. No,
okay. And that's unfortunately a 5, so it's 1 success.
Okay. Well, they also rolled 1 success. So
Okay.
what I'm going to judge that what happens is you don't properly collide, but as their spinner starts to rise, yours just like, it's not proper collision, but they're kind of banging against each other, and it's like it's stopping them easily taking off, right? So it's giving something a moment to happen in case people want to do stuff, and then we'll make another roll. Roll. But before we do that, I am going to make another roll for someone. Let me see this. There we go. Well, I think. Good Lord, I just rolled the same on 2 dice. Okay. Wow. Those are weighted. You see Styles emerge from the front of the building kind of behind them, and he's kind of like reaching up, and he's trying to, one of them is still kind of like climbing into the spinner as it's taken off the ground, and he's reaching in to try and kind of grab them and pull them back, but he doesn't seem to be able to manage it. But let's make another opposed driving roll and see what happens. If this is also equal, I'm going to say that they do get away because like you're just nudging.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so D68. Well, we're pushing that. Because because that didn't go so great. That's a 1 and an 8. So
Okay, well,
stress.
yeah, that is the same as them. They also got 1 success.
Okay.
And I'm going to judge that they do pull, like, after the bumping, they do, like, veer to one side and start to climb to get away. But because it's an equal and not, like, just they win, I'm going to give Styles one more shot at doing what he wants to do. It's that. Okay, that's a lot better. Let me. I need to do some rolling for something now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jesus. And I just want to check something about crits because
For no
that's
particular
a lot
reason.
of successes. Did you say something, Stephen, about that you can like spend additional for each that roll? Oh, right, okay. For each die roll beyond what was needed to trigger a critical success. Okay. You can roll an additional. Wow. All right. Yeah. Okay. So basically, he gets to roll 3 crit die and choose the one he prefers,
Damn.
which is
Styles has got
kind of a
game.
lot. Yeah, he does. Although, and okay, fuck. All right. And the crit die for his attack is his strength, which, as you may have detected by now, is pretty good. Okay. Styles is going to reach up. He grabs one of them by the leg, yanks them bodily out as the spinner pulls up. Like, it's less that he's pulling them, more that he just they can't shake his grip, and he drags them out. He holds them aloft by their leg for a moment before he kind of whips it round and slams them onto the ground. Not like a ridiculous, like, Incredible Hulk move, but he's holding them up by the leg, and he like just torques it round and brings them down. There is an almighty snap, and their foot is not pointed the way it should be. And they let out a kind of like howl before their head slams into the ground and they fall unconscious. Styles then reels round as if he hears something and runs. Looks like he's running around the back of the memory lab. And at that moment, let's pick up with Olsen and let's pick up with Percival. So you're both where you are in where the gunfight happened. Olsen, you said you've gone to check on Percival, so feels like a moment to slip into roleplay, doesn't it?
You're right, Percy.
Not really.
I think they're leaving. Leia was heading out the back through some kind of server room, I think, but I don't know where. I don't know if she can get out. I don't know if she'll be stuck in the building. Lilith Tyrell is dead. Completely dead.
I take it at this point, Matt, we've seen enough to see that the spin has like taken off, that there's no chasing these guys out the front.
Yeah, I'd say that like it's still very dusty between you and there, but like, yeah, you can hear the sound of a spinner like taking off, and yeah.
Do we go after Leia?
I'm struggling a bit right now, Percival. I think you could go after her, but I want to see who's out the front. I know that we've got guys coming, but I think you should go after her and Fenna. I don't know what she'll do. I don't know if Fenna catches her. There's a good chance they'll need 2 of you to bring her in. I don't know.
Awesome. If I walk out the front door and just sit on the pavement and take some air, how does that sit with you?
I couldn't blame you. I couldn't blame you.
I'm in a really bad way. I'm going to do that.
Okay. Two things. First off, Olsen, having been broken by stress, can you roll me one of your whatever die you have for empathy, please?
That is a D8. A 5.
Okay, that's fine. If you'd rolled a 1, your resolve would be permanently lowered by 1.
Okay, nice.
And secondly, I also think could you please that seemed like weirdly a steadying conversation to me that someone else is feeling like shit as well, right? So Percival, can you make me a manipulation roll, please? I know this isn't like an active thing you were trying to do, but I feel it kind of represents.
Sure. I like, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm expressing some human feelings right now. So D10 and a D6. That's a fail, but can I push that? No.
Yeah, you can. You can push.
Okay. That's a 1 and a 3. So I'm going to take a point of stress. Like this is presumably just about like Olsen is in a bad way and needs someone to talk to kind of steady herself. Can I push that a second time? I've taken a point of stress anyway. But...
Yeah, replicants can push as many times as they
want.
want.
No, that's still a fail. So I take a point of stress and
Olsen, unfortunately, you are still broken by stress, and so basically, the only way to be unbroken by stress for you now is someone else making that manipulation roll, or the automatic recovery of a point of lost resolve after a shift. After it says after a shift has passed. I don't think it has to exactly be downtime, but it would have to be a shift's worth. But fortunately for you, you're broken by stress in a way where you're still kind of functional, but not hugely. Okay, let's pick up with Fenna. All right. Fenna, you dash out the back of that room through the dome-like room where you were talking to Leah, past Lilith Tyrell's body, and out into that server room. And I assume you're just kind of trying to move through this room as fast as possible to try and catch up with wherever it is that Leah's gone. Yeah. So you emerge out of that back room. There is one door at the back of it which leads you into what seems like a storage room, and that storage room has a door that is open where rain and now kind of slush and hail is coming through from the worsening weather conditions outside.
Before I head out, I'm going to take this time to stop in the room for a second to say, Sarah, are you there?
There's no response.
Are you in here? Shit. And I'll try and head out the back and see if I can see where anyone might have gone.
Round the back, there is a landed spinner on the ground. There is a figure stood by it, and you can barely see them now really clearly due to the storm. But there is a figure stood by it, closing the one door of the spinner and kind of moving around to take the driver's seat. Inside the spinner is a much smaller figure.
I can't like, I mean, like, this is still a bit of a distance away and stuff as well, right? Like I can run up, but like I probably can't stop this from taking off. Can I?
Yeah. Well, you could definitely
try.
You can move close enough to talk to her or shoot before she gets in and take, because she has to move around the side of the spinner. It's not a huge distance off. It's just difficult to see because, as I say, there's now like precipitation coming down. That's honestly more like I say, like slush, like half snow, half ash, half rain.
Okay. I guess I'll call out, Leah, don't do this. Stop. Think.
Leah
and I'll
kind
be
of
holding
like
my blaster up this time.
She carries on kind of like moving around but the side of the spinner, but kind of like wheels around and raises her blaster. She's not pulling the trigger, but she is aiming it back at you. And she kind of shouts as she's edging around to the other side. What would you do? What would you do if they gave you something and they took it away?
I'm gonna shoot her.
Okay. I'd say you've been stood there. You've been talking. I'm going to count that as aiming.
Okay.
So make a firearms roll with advantage. So that's 2 copies of your smaller die.
I think this is a 12 and a 6 for me. I'm just gonna double check. Yeah. The 10, a 6, and a 2.
What ammunition is that?
That's what my assuming I can if this counts as medium range, then Sonic Blast. Sonic
Right.
Blast.
Okay.
Yes,
So
that's 2 damage.
2 damage, but what's the crit?
D10.
Okay. So you can so that causes that much damage. You rolled 3 successes there, right?
Yeah.
So you can roll 2d10 and pick the option you want more. You said it's a d10 crit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a 1 and a 4.
Okay. Are you looking for a worse thing? Like, are you looking to deal?
I want the thing that's gonna stop her.
Or help to stop her the most. Okay.
Yeah.
So you shoot, and there's a crack, and you see her head kind of like reel back, and she like reaches up and kind of clutches at one side of her face and lets off a round back at you. And I'm going to say that round is at disadvantage because you just shot her in the head with a sonic round. So that is going to lose that, which means she takes this. And she misses. She is now going to dash for the door of the spinner. Do you want to take another shot?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Take another shot without aiming this time.
Yeah. That's cocked. Hang on. Oh, that's 2 5s. I am going to push.
Mm-hmm.
It's an 11 and a 2.
So that's 2 successes,
2
right?
successes.
Okay. So that pushes. It's the same kind of round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have multiple of those? Is there? There's nothing that says the way.
It doesn't say.
No, that's
yeah.
fine. Okay, that pushes her down to that, and you get another D10 roll because that's another crit.
That's a 9.
That's a 9. Yeah. Okay. So you shoot at her again, and this one hits her square in the torso. Like she's basically turned, and it hits her square in the middle of the back as she's like reaching for the door. She spins to the ground in the gathering kind of like slush and snow, and seems to go still.
I am gonna run up to the door on the other side, and open the door. Hopefully, sing Sarah and say, "It's okay, it's okay. You're gonna be safe. It's okay." And try to, if assuming that is Sarah in the car, take her out and try to shield her and hold her close and keep her from looking at bodies on floors and things.
Absolutely. Do you want to make an insight roll for me, please?
Yeah. Insight. It's a 10 and a 12. That's a 1 and a 3.
Do you want to push for it?
If I push, that breaks me.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it.
You do manage to get Sarah out of the car. She's kind of like holding herself against you, but like she looks like her face just looks numb. Like she just looks to be in shock.
Yeah.
So you don't think you're kind of reaching her.
Yeah. I'll regardless, I'll still say it's going to be okay. Come and I don't think I want to take her in back into the memory lab. So I'm going to. This I presume it's not a dead end. There's a spinner and stuff. There's a way back around.
Yeah, it's just an open.
Gonna,
it's like an open parking space. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try to take her sort of somewhere background front that way rather than back through the memory lab, and just try still trying to keep her held close and just slowly kind of start moving in that direction.
As you kind of turn and start to walk away, you hear a murmuring voice just behind you. Are you going to stop and turn enough to listen?
I am going to. Sarah seems quite unresponsive, right? She seems numb and shocked.
She's out of it. You're not sure she even knows where she is.
Yeah. I can't tell her to run off on her own somewhere to safety. I am going to try to. I think I'll stop and try to turn to listen, but try to keep just try to keep her behind me, shielded, rather than still try and just put my body between Sarah and whatever is behind me.
Yeah, absolutely. You see that Leah is lying in the gathering slush and snow. She has one arm kind of outstretched. Her blaster is well away from her, and she has one arm kind of outstretched, almost not grasping but reaching towards where Sarah Tyrell is standing, who's not looking back at her and is just kind of looking, numbly off into the distance. Leah kind of stares at Sarah by your side. Dinah, I tried. I'm sorry. I lost you again. She goes still, and a tall, powerful shadow emerges from the an overhang of concrete nearby. Styles kneels down, takes Leah and picks her up in his arms. He gives you a long, even look and says, "Are you going to come looking for us, detective? I think your justice has been done."
Nothing here was justice. I'm just going to turn away and try to I'm not even going to answer further than that. Just turn around and try to, shielding Sarah, keep walking away in the direction I was before.
Absolutely. And I don't think that it sounds to me like Backer and Percival are just sat outside in the rubble, kind of trying to recover. This is well away from, you couldn't hear or see any of this. It's around the back of the building.
I want to note that at some point I would have remembered to go in and bring Terry out too.
Yeah.
He got left under a desk.
Yeah, he's out. He's still breathing. He's probably in a coma or something, but maybe he has a chance. You don't really know. Novak, you can see Novak. I'm assuming you put the spinner down after. I'm assuming you didn't try and enter into an aggravated spinner chase with your.
Absolutely not. No, that's been done. That's yeah.
Then, as the lights of the LAPD spinners touch down nearby and kind of illuminate the scene, glistening on this almost ashy, sparkling snow that's coming down around you. Over to one side is the still breathing body of the wet work agent. You don't know what's going to happen with that. Fenner emerges from the front with a numb and shocked Sarah Tyrell by her side, and one of the LAPD cops, one of the ones in charge, runs over as Novak's spinner kind of touches down to the ground, and all four of you kind of share a look between you. "Detectives, sorry, we're a bit late." Is the situation handled? Are you all right?
Does any of this look all right? Thanks for coming.
Well, we'll secure it all. And he dashes off alongside various other cops that are now touching down. Are there any words you want to share between you, or any actions you want to take?
Olsen will be doing some kind of field medicine on Percival. What she can. Probably not too much, but
I think Fenna's gonna just stick with Sarah and try to just be a person she recognizes and just some sort of safety blanket for Sarah as much as she can, for as long as she can.
Mm-hmm. How about Novak?
I think Novak, having been out front, isn't privy to everything that's transpired. So I think he'll sort of cast a look across the group as a whole and say, where's Styles? And where's Leah?
I didn't see Styles. Backer said that Leah was further in the building.
I am probably going to try and be like a bit further away from the others. Like, I don't want Sarah hearing about the briefing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think if you're addressing the group, Fenna's probably a bit off to the side.
I think, like, for the purposes of, like, because this is the ending. I think for the purpose of it, we have to have some like let's say there are now cops like taking care of Sarah as well, right?
If she's been taken away and stuff, then I think I'd say I shot Sarah. I shot Leah. God,
I hope not.
Really bad aim. I shot Leah. She went down. I don't know if she's gonna live. She looked in a bad way, but Styles.
Oh, she's dead.
Oh, she is dead.
I clearly didn't make it clear. She's dead.
Well, I thought she was dead, but then Styles was
she had poignant last words, and then she had poignant last words.
I figured from the words, but it was like there was like a moment where I was like, "Ooh, ambiguously motionless." Maybe not.
Yeah, but also, you can't really be sure someone's dead until you've like got them in the morgue and you're cutting them open. They're not like suddenly going, "Well, what are you doing?" or whatever.
Well, for the purpose of the story, she's dead, and he did say, "Are you coming after us?" Not like including him. That's the thing.
That would make me think she's alive, because like, who's going to come after a dead person? If he says, "Are you coming after me?" they'd be like, "Well, she must be dead."
Yeah, but us includes him.
Who else is it?
Yeah.
The network.
Okay, guys. I said she's dead. I'm not lying. So if we can move forward under that assumption.
I, as a player, believe you. Fenna may still be slightly suspicious.
No, I'm telling you that Fenna knows she's dead.
Okay, all right. So Style, I shot her. She's dead. Styles took her body. This is a shit show.
Tyrell's dead.
Tyrella's dead. I hope that is the end to her work, but I think she caused this. This is her fault.
Seems to me Leah wound up with the fate that was always coming. But look, I don't want to sound callous, but where does this leave us? We've got everyone involved is now in the wind or dead. I can't imagine anyone's going to be terribly happy with us. And frankly, I'm too messed up to give a shit right now. But if anyone's got any bright ideas.
We've got that wet worker.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've keep an eye on that, make sure that he doesn't die as well. But like that, what a shit show. Like I was trying to talk her down. I think there was a way that we could have stopped her and then that fucking explosion.
It's done, Fenna. It's done.
Novak, you have been moved to being sat in like the actual Blade Runner spinner that the rest of them arrived in, and as you, because you can't move, the rest of them are like obviously either sat or pacing around. As you're sat there, the like inset KIA starts buzzing.
Okay, I'll key it.
Okay, it's the deputy chief. Novak. All right, I suppose you're the senior one. I've heard that there's been a lot of chaos, but 4 Blade Runners still breathing. All I want from you is confirmation one way or another, Novak. I don't want any prevarication or yes ands. Is it done?
It's done.
Good job. The line goes dead. And that's the end of our story. So, we have, obviously, stuff to talk about, and that will be fun. Post your comments and questions in the chat. Before we do that, and before I do the promo nonsense, I'm going to quickly go through. Actually, let's do the promo first and get it out of the way so we can focus on Blade Runner stuff. Links below: Twitch, YouTube. You know the score with those things. There's also links to our social media, our Discord, our Patreon, our merch store. Those lovely things are available. We do lots of weekly roleplay here on Telling Tales. Mondays is currently alternating between Warhammer and We Deal in Lead. Wednesdays has been Blade Runner, but this is the end of Blade Runner. Simbroom will return in the coming weeks, and Thursdays is fortnightly Wicked Ones. We also do one-shots once a month on weekends. We don't have any in the diary at the moment, but I'm sure some more will appear soon. So there we go. Promo handily out of the way. Let's get ourselves to some lovely promotion and humanity points. So I don't think anyone found more clues this time around because we were kind of beyond clues, right?
There wasn't a lot of time for getting the old sort of eyeglass out and
no. So everyone can take 2 promotion points for 2 promotion points for stopping for keeping Sarah Tyrrell safe from harm and apprehending Leah in a way.
Arresting in a very literal sense.
In a very literal sense. So you can take those. I don't think there's no more important evidence to put on the LAPD mainframe. I have. Okay. I'm going to, and this is just how I'm interpreting it. And if we do a follow up, maybe that'll change, and we'll go back and change it. I'm interpreting Novak saying it's done as Novak not reporting Styles.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he gave me such an easy window by saying, "I just want a yes/no answer," and I was like, you know what?
Yeah. Ultimately I did that because I knew that if I wanted you to say something punchy to end the thing. And also, like, I knew if we went back and forth over it, it would just lead to a larger, longer scene, right? And I felt we've had the climax. Let's not. I actually love the end of Return of the King, but let's not Return of the King this.
Sure.
So those are the promotion points for everyone. However, we definitely have some. And I'm also going to give an extra promotion point to Inga and Sam because I think you saved the life of Percival. Because you could have chased Leah. And if you chase Leah, Percival's going to die in that scene, clearly. But you went back for Percival. So I'm going to give you you 2 extra promotion points for that. Humanity points. Realize that Styles is a replicant, but let him go. Assuming you're all going to follow Novak's lead, everyone can take a humanity point. Try to talk Leah down from killing Lilith. I'm going to give Fenner did like Olsen was there as well, but I'm going to give that to Fenner. I'm going to give a humanity point to Fenner there. Kept Sarah Terrell safe from harm is also a humanity point. Everyone can take that. Yeah, I think that's it. So that's a hefty little allocation of points, which is nice. Okay. Before we delve into the comments and questions and stuff, is there anything anyone in the group wants to discuss? Because I think that was quite an intense final session. So if you've got things you need to vent about or ramble about or get emotional about, then now's the time to. This is the allocated time for that.
God damn it, man! Done.
I loved the way it felt very Blade Runner, the kind of I don't know, poetic, ethical kind of murkiness of the fact that, like, regardless of who you hold ultimately accountable for Sanders' murder, they've been dealt with.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like that's how it played out.
Both of the potential people who you could hold accountable have ended this dead. Yeah.
You could take it back further. It was what's his face
story.
annoying.
It can unfold a number of ways.
Yep.
Your connection has gone very wonky, Matt, just so you know. We currently have blurred
I
still,
thought that was
Matt.
me.
I think we may have temporarily lost Matt.
Oh no.
Well, the GM's away, the players will play. No, that doesn't work really, actually. It's kind of the wrong way around. But...
God is dead.
Don't put ideas in his head.
So
We'll just wait and see if he recovers.
Yeah.
I don't know. This looks fairly unrecoverable.
I guess
Hello.
it's better now.
We have two Matts. This is terrifying.
Yeah, I know. That's so bizarre. And also, annoyingly, what that means is I've lost all the fucking flagged comments from the thing, but I can go to Twitch and just read them out. Yeah, I just thought I could see that it was getting wonky, so I just thought it's better to leave and come back. What were you saying? Sorry, what were people saying?
Mostly commenting on your disappearance.
Yeah. Wasn't someone saying something before I left? I can't.
I think Inga was saying something about that. Yeah.
What was the guy's name? The Kill Magazine dude. Arguably, he's also sort of accountable because it was like his little fight in the snake pit that ended up resulting in the Sandor getting shot. So really, we need to go and shoot him too.
But again, he gets to go on carrying on living his life, and so does Styles. So
yeah, I mean,
there's sort of a balance to it, right? Like
remind me the name of the guy who runs Kill Magazine.
Yeller.
Yeah, thank you. I think Yeller is several rungs lower than Styles on the ethical tree ladder, I would say. Styles, I don't feel like I, as a player, or particularly Novak, obviously would have a complicated relationship with Styles, but I think he sort of respects his standpoint.
It's just his standpoint is at odds with your job.
Indeed, yeah. But he's sort of not totally unreceptive. Based on what he's seen, whereas Yeller is just, gutter trash. Like, I think he hates Yeller.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people, especially in like dystopian-y kind of like places, would shoot the person who just shot Leah. But Styles also let me go, right?
I was wondering what Styles was going to do in that.
Like, it seemed very vengeance-driven, right? Yeah,
it's kind of about protection, right? Like he was trying. All he was trying to do at any step of this was to try to save Leah.
Yeah.
Although he is also kind of the one who was not started, but like the two people who kind of started the fight that caused the initial murder are Yella and Styles, basically, from what we know. And they've both kind of gotten away with it, and everyone else has been killed.
I think the issue with Yeller
God,
is everything else about him, whereas I think the fight breaking out is just an incidental misfortune, right? Where it's like that wasn't premeditated. I'm going to start a fight so that I can get somebody killed. It's just like that was just bad.
And it seemed like Leah was probably at some point going to hit some kind of breaking point with all of this stuff. Like she obviously wasn't coping super well for a while, and like these memories weren't like going away. I mean, what a shitty what a shitty thing. Like, oh yeah, we'll control you through trauma. That's definitely not going to backfire. I mean, so gross.
Oh, it's utterly despicable. Yeah,
I was
really,
quite
really
relieved that she bought the farm, honestly.
Yeah, we're going to breed slaves and then control them through implanted trauma. Yeah. I mean, it is already appalling in Blade Runner, but this is particularly appalling. Like,
but like also so twisted to like use your own family as it's one thing being like, oh yeah, I'm going to implant some traumatic memories, but I'm going to use my daughter as like the image of this memory of a kid. Like that's so weird.
It's
she
like
had to program that image of her daughter dying. Like that's messed up.
Well, clearly it's like being a massive asshole runs in the family. So Sarah next.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be a good time to like mechanically it didn't come out in the session, but just in terms of theme and flavor, Percival's key memory, like the one that's kind of like disturbed him, although much less than Leah. His key memory is a fleeting vision of yourself as a small child in the derelict housing projects of Los Angeles Hills. You were playing with your best friend Leah in a crumbling building when it suddenly collapsed. You made it out. She didn't. And it's like,
the game it never came up because Percival never interacted with Sarah Tyrrell, with Lilith Tyrrell, I should say. Yeah. But there is a specific thing written in should that have like Percival's memory is created by Lilith Tyrrell, and B, I had something that it does suggest, but I was specifically going to do it with Percival because Fenner's key memory isn't actually an implanted memory, so it's not like something you can play around with in the same way. But if you'd interacted with Sarah Tyrrell and it Lilith Tyrrell, God, I have a block there, and it became like clear and you referenced your memory or something like that, or like you tried, because at one point you were thinking about going and seeing if you had also had a memory designed by her.
It's definitely been on Percival's mind.
If you had done and you talked to Lilith Tyrrell about it, her response would have been, oh yes, that's one of mine. Are you happy with the product?
Amazing.
I do think the only thing that has come out of this that could in any way be construed as like a moral good is that Lilith Tyrrell is dead and will no longer be putting these memories into people. Like,
but also a daughter just lost her mother.
But also like what? But like how is she like how proprietary is this? Is she the only one? If we want to undo the trauma that's been done to Percival, is that now not possible because
she was literally just featured in a prominent tech magazine saying it was an amazing and innovative development.
Yeah.
So she ain't going to be the only one.
This is like this. But before when the rocket came down, like that was gonna be the next. Like I had it in my head as like that's gonna be my next thing. I feel like I'm maybe getting there with Leah. I'm gonna try saying, because she'd kind of pose that choice of like either you let me shoot her and then take me in, or let me go. And, or whatever. Yeah, the choice.
Because you know, she was perfectly willing to come with you if you let her kill Lilith Tyrrell.
Yeah. But what I was going to try and say, what I had in my head I was going to try for was basically, I want and need you both alive because I like don't make a martyr out of her, and like we need to stop this from happening to anybody else. And I think you both need to be alive and here to do that, or something to that effect. But then rockets happened.
I think she was kind of beyond that level of rationale.
I think so too, but like that was definitely in my head.
Also, realistically, like if you're like, oh, she needs to survive so she can be held, is she going to be held accountable?
Well, less about holding her accountable and more like so she can undo the shit that she's done. Like we can like if but I don't
think
know
she
whether it would
wants
actually
to do that.
happen, but
Yeah,
I
think
agree, but
Yeah.
you
as
know.
soon as you're out of that situation, she has all the power again.
Yeah. Like it's a funny one. Like, and I'm perfectly willing to talk about some of the things that could, or how things could have gone differently, or if you've got any questions about various other things, I'm perfectly happy to answer about the paths not taken. One big thing is that this is potentially not the last scene if Leah flees again. Now, you have all the clues to be able to put it together. Where could you find Leah if she fled the memory lab?
The Hollywood sign.
Bingo. Well done. Yeah. At the Hollywood sign, there was a Moonbus shuttle waiting to take her and a load more replicants off planet. And if you go there, you can have another, chance, another confrontation, whatever you want to do with that. And it does also say that if a significant number of the Wetwork operatives survive the attack on the lab, they turn the fuck up there as well.
Jesus.
So, yeah.
So many.
With those guys, like, can you confirm, like, Wallace Corp sent them?
I mean, if we do a sequel, do you want the answer to that question?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
No.
It's gotta be Wallace. It's got to be Wallace. Like,
Because like that's the
I
other thing.
definitely-
Like, I mean, from a general, like, big corporates are evil. They just go and kill people. Like, it sort of makes sense. But also, it totally doesn't make sense. They wanted to keep this quiet. But those are the guys coming, literally all guns blazing, shooting shit up. Like, that, something about that just doesn't make sense.
Does that
Unless
matter
it was
if
like
you control the
we're past
media?
the point. Yeah, well, but,
You control the media and
Yeah,
everyone who was there is dead, then
Yeah,
mission
I do.
accomplished.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
from that perspective, it kind of makes sense that like if they just kill everyone who knows anything, and Leah just gets away, then nothing else is really going to be heard about this. Whereas like if Leah is brought in, and then like we know things about what has been implanted in her and what's caused all this, then that could potentially be a bigger problem for them than just her getting away and us all being dead.
Yeah, I think you can also make the connections if you, and this, I'm happy dropping this for you. Why do you think that was the time they came after you?
after the Kill
Why
magazine
then?
was published.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it got public. Interesting, like potential, like epilogue there. Like, if this group of RDU people like wanted to have any effect on whether or not this kind of like trauma memory tech was used again, the best way to do that would be to kind of spin the public narrative, and the best conduit for doing that probably is Kill Magazine.
Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah.
Like go and have them
though.
go and have them produce an expose on exactly why Lilith Tyrell got killed. She got killed because she was making these dangerous M9s
but isn't that going to just like write off all replicants? Isn't that basically okay? Yeah, let's stop using like I especially if Kill Magazine. There's no way they're like, oh yeah, just these specific types of replicants. We shouldn't be mean to them. Like surely that if it becomes too common, it'll be just okay, that's it. Replicants are too dangerous. We've got to wipe them out again. So I was thinking about it. I was like, it's the best thing to do to actually more like, in a more like, hey, we're trying to help you out, Wallace Corps. Don't use them because they're the ones that are going to fuck things up and be bad for publicity, like as the way to kind of sell it there. But if they're already trying to kill us because we know too much,
we've got absolutely no way to make them listen, though, is the problem there.
No, so then I was thinking, well, do we need to like try and do some sort of like undercover infiltration of take it down from the inside, kind of off the books mission, but like that's going to get us killed. I don't know. Everything's bad. Everything's bad.
I wouldn't have been surprised if off camera a Wetwork team had showed up at Kill Magazine, honestly, after it went public. That wouldn't have surprised me either. But we don't know because we never went back. So,
yeah, so there is they've recently published Case File 2, which is called Fiery Angels. And it's not like completely a sequel, but it's definitely got it says it's got elements that like will carry over. Like there'll be slight changes to the story if I think it said if Lilith Terrell survives, there'll be slight changes. If like so it does have repercussions on the second one. If you play this one and then play that one, you can introduce some elements of things that have moved through it, which is cool. And maybe we'll do that. Or, you know, as regular viewers of readers of our Discord will know, I did grumble about the price point of Case File 2. So maybe not.
I think it's expensive compared to a core rulebook. I think it's not expensive compared to like how many evenings of entertainment you can get out of it for a player group.
Yeah, yes and no, but as with all things, like there is a certain underlying bitterness to from a GM point of view with that kind of thing, where it's like it's definitely worth the price for a group of 5 people to have like several really good evenings, but then the GM pays for all of it. So
Sure.
like, you know, there's that balance. Yeah, I could sit here and wax about like price points of stuff and how I think certain things are escalating in a rather unreasonable way. But you know, that just makes me the grumbler, so which I already am, so I won't go into that. There were some very good comments, but like without being able to pop them on screen and also having lost the list of them, I'm not going to go through too many. We did have a comment from Steve saying the combat system seems to work pretty well, gets things done without slowing down the story. It is punchy and lethal as fuck, and I really like it. Yeah, it's way more lethal than most Year Zero engine things because crits are so easy to get.
Yeah,
unlike
there's no hit point sponges in this game.
No.
What are some of the other things that are on the crit table?
So we have to go down. Do you want me to? Shall I go down that one by one? Do you want crushing or piercing?
Well, piercing is always
piercing is the one. So
Let's
going
see how
down,
bad it could have got.
Going down the 12 results in order. You have ear torn off, hand impaled, pierced eye, shoulder hit, bleeding gut, cracked skull. Incidentally, bleeding gut number 5 is the first one that's potentially lethal. Cracked skull, punctured lung, brains blown out, so instant death at 8. Massive internal organ damage at 9. Pierced heart, instant death at 10. Severed leg at 11. And 12 is shattered head, instant death. There are a quarter of the piercing crit table is instant death.
I was quite lucky.
Yes. Yeah, you were.
I think for this kind of story, it's like perfect and really good. If you were to play a full-on campaign of this game,
yeah, like
I don't know how you feel about it. Yeah, like you just die so like any combat you could die randomly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not,
like I say, two rolls of the dice and you're dead.
Yeah, it's intense. It's
yeah,
feels like it suits this kind of length of campaign better than like a year-long campaign or something like that.
Yeah, it's a dangerous job. Like, yeah, I think it makes sense.
There was a thing which we didn't end up addressing. Obviously, Fenner mentioned about this wet work operative being alive and trying to keep him that way, and I was like, they're definitely just going to disappear, right? Like they're definitely just going to be disappear, just like within an hour of them being in custody.
Oh yeah.
Or before they even get to the building, they're just something's going to happen to the vehicle.
I will go ahead and say that they died in transit.
Yeah, exactly.
Just another comment I wanted to flag because I want to echo it. Dungeoneering says amazing RP by all. That was really cool to watch. Yeah, I thought we everyone did really well there. That was really cool. A really fun session to run. So there we go. Like I say, we had some great other comments, but I just doing it outside of StreamYard and scrolling through them, I'm tired. But know that I appreciate them all, and it was a really good set of comments. So there we go. Lovely stuff. That's our Blade Runner series, Electric Dreams, wrapped up. If you want to see it come back, then let us know. Maybe sign up for our Discord and let us know there, or send us a comment on Twitter or any of the other wonderful internet things that can be done. And in the meantime, we will see you for more Simbroom. It won't be on next week. It might be on the week after that, or we might have a couple of other interim streams before we pick up Simbroom again. I'm not sure. We have to make up our mind on it. But either way, it's coming back soon. And tell you what, if you tuned in this far, and you are a Simbroom fan, I will give you a bit of a teaser in that we are not heading straight into the next big arc. We're not heading straight into the Darkest Star. We are going to be doing another pre-published story that's called What's Bred in the Bone. And it's a really good one. I'm really looking forward to running it. I think this could be a Bell Tolls for Caster beta. That's all I'm saying. It's a really good little story. So there we go. Lovely stuff. Take care and stay safe, everyone. And we will see you soon for more role-playing.
Bye-bye.